In my last video, I explained how obedience to God is natural. This time I will reveal how obedience to God is easy. Not just easy to say, but also easy to experience. Let me get personal. When you think of obedience to God, does your heart sing for joy at how easy it is? Or do you think like the Mormons I witnessed to who experience it as difficult? They commiserate by telling each other Jesus never said it would be easy. First, have you experienced obedience to God as difficult and burdensome? Second, have you ever wished that obedience could be easy? If obedience is not easy, then Jesus was confused, exaggerating, or lying when he said it was not only easy but also light. Do you know that Bible passage? Matthew records Jesus saying, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and lowly of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus' yoke and burden include all aspects of the Christian life: obedience, holiness, repentance, love, and more, all of which are easy and light. Is that your experience? If not, you need to notice the key phrase in Jesus' words above. He said his yoke and burden are easy and light. He did not say your yoke and burden are easy and light. The adversary gave our first parents a heavy yoke of self-righteous self-centeredness. There are pressure and difficulty in trying to produce your own righteousness and trying to be the center of your own life. And you and I inherited that burden. Jesus came to trade your heavy yoke of self-centeredness for his light one of Christ-centeredness. He considered you and went all the way to death in your place to do that. That is personal. If you are a true Christian, then you have made that trade and are a Jesus is your righteousness Christian, no matter your failings. Do you see his yoke as a new relationship, heart, and mind where he is your life? In other words, do you see his yoke as his consideration of you, of who he is for you? This is a real experience. So is your yoke, which is your self-centered consideration of yourself. When you neglect Jesus' consideration of you, you go back to your old yoke and you experience self-centered obedience, which is disobedience, which is a heavy load because God certainly does not enable disobedience. Ponder that. Christ-centered obedience is light, easy, and joyful, while self-centered obedience is burdensome. Every year I lead hundreds of Christians and Mormons to discover the simplicity and ease of Christ-centered obedience. When they consider how Christ considers them, magic happens. Well, not real magic, but it feels like magic to them as they express surprise and delight at their burden lifting when they consider Christ as their standard and the bearer of all sin. They also discover their evil behavior results from not considering Christ this way. Watch my videos to see how I do it.